Hello, Watem here, and welcome back to some more Higurashi When They Cry. If you're wondering why my voice last part and this part sound a bit drier than normal, that's because I've just had a nice creme liqueur. So yeah, anyway, enough about that, let's continue.
どうぞです。おトイレも貸しますです。
My house is on the second floor of a storage building. The first floor contains emergency supplies for the village. I'm happy to know that at least one police officer will be there for me. The officers confirmed their positions on the map of the shrine. One will be in the storage building. Two more will walk around the shrine property. Also, one more officer will be standing in front of the stairs that lead to the shrine. This Ozoishi is certainly reliable. Oops. Screw Akasaka for not being there when he's actually needed. In my other lives, Ozoishi tended to look at me as his enemy. However, in this world, he thinks I'm on his side. I'm sure it's because we all became friendly with him around the time we saved Satoko. It's unfortunate at the time, but perhaps the return of Satoko's uncle was a necessary event. I wonder. If Okunogi was right about Hirie, he wouldn't be able to come near me with 20 mountain dogs and 4 police officers protecting me. If Okunogi is the bad guy, they'd be discouraged from acting by the presence of the police. Not too different from giving garlic to a vampire. This is the best protection I've had in 100 years. Even so, am I still going to be killed tonight? Probably. I need to do whatever I can. I should struggle. As hard as possible. I won't give up. I won't even think about my next life. This is what enjoying life is all about. This is what living seriously is all about.
羽生、いる？
What will her thoughts on all this be?
いますのですよ。どう思う？今回。確かに、僕もこういう展開はあまり見た記憶がありませんのです。
That's basically what I asked word for word.
今回はひょっとしてって思うことはやっぱり罪なのかしらね。僕は期待も失望もしませんです。
She's still going on about that. Like, she's waiting patiently for a miracle, but then not actually. When it's handed to her on a silver platter, she pushes it away.
ただ、あるがままに訪れる結果を眺めるのみです。
Hanyu is still acting like a bystander. I knew she was going to say something like that, but part of me was hoping she would say something more positive. Upon hearing her say what she did, I felt a little disappointed, and wondered why Hanyu refused to be anything but an onlooker. I always thought it was normal for her to be that way, because she's a special existence. I also convinced myself that I had to be an onlooker too, since I was a similar being. However, I can't just let go of everything and become a bystander. I can't become like her. I can't stop hoping for a better life for Erika Furude. That hope was betrayed so many times, and my heart was crushed countless more. But, oh, no, never mind. That's why I stopped expecting anything to turn out the way I wanted. So, is Hanyu the same way?
羽生も傷つくのが嫌で期待することをやめた。
I've only lived for 100 years, but I know how frightening it is to have high expectations. Hanyu should also be aware of that, since she's lived far longer than me. I always thought that Hanyu was a special existence, but, except for the fact she's invisible, everything about us is the same. She has the same thoughts and feelings. Wait, you know, apart from the horns, And, you know, being able to travel back in time. But yeah, no, she's just the same. She has the same thoughts and feelings as everyone else, yet I still saw her as a special existence. That's why I just assumed that her mind worked in a different way. Maybe she's
僕
just
は理科に比べて長くを生きすぎましたのです。
too pessimistic.
喜びより悲しみが後に残り、期待すれば裏切られる方が多いことを知りすぎてしまいました。
Are there really more sad things than happy things in the world? Do you get to decide that?
だからもう何が起こっても心を傷つけたいと思わないのです。だから今回の世界でも期待しないのね。私がひょっとするとこの運命から逃れられるかもしれないという期待を。羽生は私がどうせまた失意のうちに殺されると思ってる。そんなことは思ってないのです。
Hanyu looked uncomfortable. She had no doubts that I'd be killed again that night. This night. That's what it means to not have hope. But she can't own up to it, because she doesn't want to hurt my feelings.
羽生も聡子と同じなのね。何かの幸運か、誰かが助けて奇跡を起こしてくれるまで耐えて待っているだけ。
You've been thrown a rope, but you won't grab it.
戦うことを恐れているだけよ。それを強さだと勘違いしている。
You've been thrown a rope, but you think it's a noose to hang yourself with?
つい最近までは私もそうだったけどね。
I'm sure you could come up with some kind of metaphor. Hanyu looked down and bit her lip. She couldn't deny what I said.
あんたも何度も聞いてるはず。奇跡ってのはみんなで団結しないと起こせない。団結というのはつまり信じること。
Well, you can't do anything like physically because you can't interact with things. You can still very easily gather information. Like, you're extremely good for that. So why haven't you used it?
みんなで信じないと奇跡は起こせないのよ。
What I just said sounded as though I was blaming her for the miracle not happening. Maybe I was too harsh to her. I stayed quiet, and Hanyu continued to look at the floor, shaking. Then she looked up at me and spoke. I noticed sadness, but also a little bit of anger in her eyes.
触れることもできず、話すこともできない。見ているしかできない僕も、そのみんなに含まれるのですか？
So that's what you should do. Watch, listen, learn, and tell her.
理科に、どんな顛末も見ていることしか許されなかった僕の気持ちがわかるというのですか？
Just because you can only do one thing doesn't mean that you can't do anything. In fact, it means that you can do that one thing. And in fact, you're especially good at doing that one thing. There was a slight severity in the tail end of Hanyu's speech. Except for me, she can't communicate with anyone in this world. She hates to be reminded of that.
ごめん。やめましょう。この流れは喧嘩になるわね。自分が殺されるまでの貴重な時間をあんたと喧嘩して過ごしたいとは思わないわ。僕もリカと喧嘩をしたくはないのです。でもこれだけは言わせて。私とあなたは友人だと思ってる。だから友人の人生が乗るか反るかという時に 期待しないとか、あるがままを受け入れるとか言って
True.
ほしくなかった。
That does kind of sound like an insult.
そのことは謝りますのです。でも期待するかしないかは僕の心の中で好きにさせてくださいなのです。
She has for the past 100 years. Or at least partially. She can be very stubborn sometimes. Hanyu seems weak on the outside, but she actually has a very strong moral code, one that she wouldn't bend for anything. She apologized to me, but she wasn't being honest. She still wasn't expecting anything good to come from this world. She still thinks that I'm going to die pitifully. That's why she refuses to believe in miracles. I've been living with her long enough to read her mind. I feel bad for her in a sense. She's been living too long and lost all of her hope. Hanyu told me to call her if anything else happened, and soon disappeared. I'm sure she's still around. She's probably just still watching me, as if she's watching a TV show. The time of my death is slowly approaching. Will I be able to survive this time? It's been a long time since I faced this fear without drinking wine. It's not over yet. I was left with nothing else to do after washing the dishes and cleaning the room. The mountain dogs and police were protecting me. Just in case, I figured I should leave something behind for Sadako. Should I write down some recipes for her in the notebook? Will she be happy if I leave a will for her? I laughed at my own foolishness. No one would be happy to read a will. If I die, they'll be devastated and wonder why I didn't talk to them. That's exactly how I felt when Sadako didn't ask for any help when her uncle was abusing her. I wonder, will I be killed before Sadako even comes home? I've just thought, what if when she comes home, all the club members come as well because they're worried about her and all that jazz. Yeah. My memories of these days are never very clear. Also, did I mention this last part? But I had a thought. Maybe her memories of the days she dies hazy because she's been drugged by them. Because she seemed to remember when Chion killed her. Well, remember that Chion killed her, but she doesn't seem to remember that the mountain dogs or Takano-san are involved for all of those deaths. So I'm thinking maybe drugs were involved, which then inhibited her memory. The day I die is always vague in my recollections. It's fine if I'm murdered before Sadako gets home. She comes home to a dead body. Oh, but if I'm murdered after, then would they kill her along with me? So she has to ask herself, does she tell her and get them killed by the mountain dogs? Or does she not tell her and hope for the best? I don't want that to happen. Oh, also, I'm just reminded again of the Shion roots when Sadako gets killed because she does. It's bad enough already that I end up killed. If Sadako's murdered along with me each time, that would be too much to bear. Just how much have I ignored other people's sadness with that rash idea that the world ends when I die? Thinking about that made me feel truly ashamed of myself. Ooh. Also another thing, the time since she's killed by Shion, there doesn't seem to be the Great Hinmazar disaster. And they were mentioning earlier like preparations to kill her. So maybe I think they said something about preparations to kill her. But maybe like they had to set something up so that her death could cause Higurashi When disaster. I turned on the TV to try and reduce the silence, but it didn't help at all. Worse, not only did the TV not help with my fears, it felt like it symbolized Hanyu and my allies, making me feel even more unpleasant. It was past lunchtime, nearly 3 p.m. School should be out soon. I'm not there today, so they probably won't do a club activity. Sadako should be home shortly. Seems I'm going to survive until she gets home after all. If she comes home and asks me what's troubling me, I might end up telling her the truth. If I talk to someone, that person will be demoned away by the mountain dogs. That's why I've never spoken to anyone about it. I didn't want my friends to get into danger. But if Sadako was also murdered, likewise in every world, because she was involved with me, wait. Does that mean perhaps that the mountain dogs were involved with Satoshi-kun's murder? Or disappearance, rather? In which case, would Rika know about that, perhaps? And still, that would be hard to be in such a situation and not be able to tell Sadako. Then we're doomed to share the same fate. It's better to know the truth than to be killed without knowing what's going on. But I'm under very strict security right now. I might be able to survive in this world. If that's the case, I shouldn't talk to Sadako about it. It won't be so easy to talk to my friends after all. Wait, just say that you're gonna die. Minutes later, I heard a surprised yell of Sadako coming from downstairs, I guess, meeting the police officer she isn't expecting. She'd returned. Actually, what if the reason why her memory's always fuzzy is because she keeps drinking? Oh dear. Has it all been her fault that she doesn't get information? Sounded like she was scared to see a stranger in our home. I'd have to tell her that the police were here. That would be tantamount to telling her that someone is out to kill me. I don't know how to explain it to her, or how much I should tell her. Simple. Why don't you just kill them? Just making a Super Mario reference there. However, my thoughts were soon interrupted by the noise of the crowd. A crowd? And I was expecting the club members, but a whole crowd? Sadako hadn't come home alone.
ただいまでございますのよ。それよりリカ、下のおまわりさんは何なんですの？
私服警官が護衛してるなんてどういうわけよ。あんた一体何をしでかしたの？
みーちゃん聞くこと違う。
Spot on, Rena.
一体何があったの、リカちゃん。
境内の中にも見慣れない人がいました。
Did she see the mountain dogs? Or someone else? Police?
あれも私服警官ですか？
Maybe it was for police officers. I mean, if they were, I'm not going to say dumb enough to be spotted, but still, in sight, no? Yeah, well, I guess.
ただごとじゃないんですけど。
俺たちリカちゃんが何を悩んでるのか知らないが、みんなで励まそうって思ってきたんだ。
She doesn't so much want to be cheered up, she just wants to survive. So, she'd prefer it if you could help with that instead.
でもどうやらそんな悠長な事態じゃねえようだな。
I couldn't stop laughing upon seeing everyone rush into my house all asking the same questions. It made me feel as though being depressed all day had just been a waste of time. Well, would you look at that?
リカ、笑ってる場合じゃありませんでしたよ。どういうことなのか説明してくださいまし。
Yo, what's so funny, my death?
どうもこうもないのです。
How does she reckon that?
今日は僕が殺される日なのです。
Oh, I was like joking when I suggested that. I wasn't expecting her to actually. Really? Everyone already knew that I'd been telling people about how I was going to be killed. They were surprised to hear it from my own mouth.
なあリカちゃん、俺は確かに昨日リカちゃんから聞いた。自分は誰かに殺されるみたいな話をな。でもそれはリカちゃんの冗談みたいなもんだと思ってた。
Rika telling jokes? I'm sorry, do you know her?
だがな、もうごまかすのはなしだぜ。話してもらうぜ。
Keiichi spoke with a harsh tone, as though I'd made him upset. As my friend, he must think that it's unforgivable that I didn't talk to him about it. He wasn't the only one feeling that way, though. Every single one of them was looking at me with worried expressions on their faces.
リカ、私はみんなに助けてもらいましたの。だから私もみんなのために何かの助けをしたいんですのよ。気持ちだけで嬉しいのです。リカが自分で私に言いましたのよ。戦う勇気を持てと。あなたは自分でそう私に言っておきながら実践していないではございませんの。
Sure she is. She's been getting the help of the mountain dogs and the police. Sadako pointed out something that I've already realized. I had no way to argue back.
リカちゃんは話せば巻き込まれるって言ったんだよね。リカちゃんが話さなくても私たちは巻き込まれる気でいるんだよ。
そうさ。俺たちは仲間で部活のメンバーなんだよ。リカちゃんの危機はメンバー全体の危機さ。
Come on, drop something like how this time you're going to survive. And then they're going to be like, wait, what, this time?
かつて聡子が危機だった時もメンバー全体の危機として戦った。それと同じだよ。
命を狙われるとか物騒な話になればますます園崎家の出番だと思いますけれど、それこそ物騒な話に及ぶなら警察より頼もしいですよ。ねえおね。そうだよ、こういうことこそ相談してほしいね。何をトラブったの？リカちゃんを殺すって脅迫するなんてとんでもない野郎だよ。
まあリカちゃんの口の重さを見る限り心当たりがないのか薄いのかのどちらかだな。相手が分かってりゃ楽な話なんだからな。
みんなは鋭いので、僕が何も話さなくても勝手に話が進んでしまうのです。リカ、はぐらかさないでほしいですわよ。ちゃんとお話しなさいませ。一体何があったんですの？
The same thing that always happens.
これはどういうことなんですの？
Someone's trying to take over the world.
警察が来るなんてよっぽどのことですのよ。警察には話せて、どうして私たちには話してくれませんの？
Yeah, so next time when a burglar's invading your house, don't call the police. Call your friends first.
私たちには話しにくい理由なの？
Should probably have some kind of disclaimer to not ever take my advice.
リカに話しにくいようなやましい理由なんてあるわけありませんでしたよ。
落ち着け、サトコ。リカちゃんはこう見えても御三家の当主なんだぞ。
So, yeah, you know, it's kind of uncomfortable to tell you that I'm over 100 years old.
お社様の生まれ変わりなんて呼ばれて、年寄り連中に盲信されてるんだ。俺たちの想像のつかないところで何か厄介なことに巻き込まれていたということもあるかもしれない。そういうごたごたをこれからこの村で楽しく過ごしていこうっていう俺たちに話したくなかったとか、そういうのじゃないのか？
村とリカちゃまに関わるヤバい話ですか。となるとお社様を盲信する年寄り連中の絡みとしか思えません。ってことは時期的に考えてお社様のたたり関係か。
Points all around.
あれだ、富武さんと高野さんが殺された件絡みじゃないかな。
どうして富武さんたちが殺された事件がリカちゃんに関連して、リカちゃんが命を狙われなくちゃならないの？話が突飛すぎるよ。
命が狙われてるって時点で十分話がぶっ飛んでる。俺たちが普段知る以上のしがらみがリカちゃんにあって、それを話せないってことなんだろうな。ビンゴだろ。あまり楽しい話じゃないから、むしろ仲間には話せないってんだろ。
信じられないですわ。本当なんですの、リカ。何か村とか富武さんたちの事件とかそういうのが関係していますの？
That wording's a bit I remained silent, but with my mouth open. I hadn't answered any of their questions. If they continued to ask, they'd eventually hit the nail on the head. It was way more surprising than anything. But then again, these are, after all, my beloved clubmates. I laughed once more. My issues and secrets were so devastating to me that they stopped sounding like such a big deal when everyone talked about them together. They knew exactly what was going on without me saying a word. At that moment, I realized just how powerless I am. I had to tip my hat to them. Everything seemed so foolish now. And so, I decided to just tell them everything.
話せと言うなら話しますです。でもどうせ信じられませんのです。
信じるさ。リカちゃんが真実を語る限り俺たちは疑わない。
Everyone's expressions turned grave as they vowed not to make light of anything I told them. And so, I'm going to tell them everything. I want to see if they really will believe me or not.
なら話します。多分私は富武と高野を殺した犯人に狙われています。
ってことはそれって連続開始事件の真犯人ってこと？
それはわかりません。ですがその可能性もあります。意味がわかりづらいですわね。
By everything, I wonder if she's going to include all the loops and all that.
どうして富武さんや高野さんを殺した人がさらにリカも殺さないといけませんの？
Or she thinks Takano is the culprit. Okanogi thinks that Irie is the culprit. Either way, it sounds like someone from Tokyo is trying to kill me. I can't tell if it's Takano or Irie, but I do know that to them, I'm like a trump card. In order to explain everything, I'd need to tell them about the relationship between Hinmazawa, Tokyo, and the Irie clinic. I don't think they'll believe me. It's such a ridiculous story. But who would ever believe it, if not my friends?
話せばみんな巻き込まれますです。いいのですか？
いいに決まってるぜ。リカちゃんが巻き込まれた時点ですでに俺たちも巻き込まれているんだからな。
Everyone nodded at Keiichi's words.
では話しますです。
So, we'll finally get to learn what's going on there. Or we would, if I was going to continue the part. So I'm going to end it here for today. Leaving you on another cliffhanger. I hope you all enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya.